Conscious evolution, bring a revolution, show us a solution. Conscious evolution, bring a revolution, show us a solution. We breathe with the earth, we shine with the sun, we fly with the eagle, our hearts beat as one. We flow with the river, we sway with the tree. All our relations, all living things. One heartbeat, do we feel it? One pulsing rhythm inside and out. One cry for love's revealing. You, me, land and sea. Conscious evolution, bring a revolution, show us a solution. Conscious evolution, bring a revolution, show us a solution. We dance 'neath the moon, we sing to the sky, we bow to the ocean, one with the tide. We stand on the mountain, we drink from one stream. All our relations, all living things. One heartbeat, do we feel it? One pulsing rhythm inside and out. One cry for love's revealing. You, me, land and sea. Oh, oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Conscious evolution, bring a revolution, show us a solution. One heartbeat, do we feel it? One pulsing rhythm inside and out. One cry for love's revealing. You, me, land and sea. One heartbeat, do we feel it? One pulsing rhythm inside and out. One cry for love's revealing. You, me, land and sea. Conscious evolution, bring a revolution, show us a solution. Sing it with us if you've got it. Conscious evolution, bring a revolution, show us a solution. Let's do that again. Conscious evolution, bring a revolution, show us a solution. Yeah. Conscious evolution, bring a revolution. We are the solution.
Wonderful, wonderful. It is so great to welcome back Lori Jones and Eric Montgomery back from their travels. It's wonderful to have you with us. Conscious evolution, that is what the universe is inviting us to partake of, to be a part of. And there is a revolution. There is a shifting and a moving that happens, and we know we are the solution. We welcome you this morning to Unity Spiritual Center of Portland, where we gather, I say, with a willingness to be a part of that evolution, of that conscious evolution, and to know that each of us comes with that specific place, in these spacesuits, these bodies that we have gathered and said yes to, and we are a part of that movement. So as we gather both in this space and online, we know that consciousness is everywhere present. And we're a part of living and moving within that. And as we gather, remembering that we're all connected, interconnected, and that as we say yes to that movement within us, it shifts and flows through us out into the rest of this world. So we're going to gather in just a moment in prayer. I wanted to share with you Rumi, who, of course, I love Rumi, the 13th century mystic. He said, "Get drunk on love, for love is all that exists." Now, how would your week be if we said, get drunk on love, take it in excess, for that is all there is. I just invite you as we begin the service in prayer, wherever you've been, if you've been outside of your heart space, if you felt like, man, what do I do here? What do I do here? How do I hold this knowing, to just come into your center, to remember that the core of your being is love, divine love. It's a vibration of spirit that lives as you now, and we just move into that place. Let's begin this service in prayer. Mother, Father God, infinite spirit, we say yes with our bodies, with our lives, with this whole essence of the truth, our very soul. Yes to that movement of spirit within us. Yes to the vibration of a universe inviting evolution, inviting conscious evolution, an awakening in our mind and our hearts to the remembering that we are all one. And as we know we are all one, we encircle every being whose name is in our prayer box, those around this city, around this country, and around the globe who wonder, where is my next meal? Who am I in this tapestry of humanity? And how do I know I am enough? We hold the space of hands joining hands, remembering we are whole, we are one, and together love lives as us this day. For this opportunity to gather and to breathe in the truth of our being and the infinite knowing that we are all whole and complete. We are grateful, and so it is. Amen. So we welcome you this morning as we gather with all this joy and these ideas. And Dixie is coming up. Beth is gone for about 3 weeks, and Barbara is on vacation also. So we got all kinds of fun things. Dixie, thank you for being here and filling in so much of the time.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Dixie Junius. I'm the volunteer coordinator here at Unity, and I'm here to remind you. I'm here to remind you that volunteering opens your heart to the joy of service. So if you're feeling that you might want to get involved in some way, please come see me, and I will match you up with an opportunity that fits your interests and your gifts, and you can participate in the joy of service here at Unity. First, I'd like to introduce our prayer chaplains. Sherry and Annette are here to pray with you. After the service, if you would like to pray with them, they are available for you. You could also, if you like, fill out a prayer request and place it in our prayer box, which is right here in front of me. There's also Dial-A-Prayer. If you want a little uplifting during the week, Dial-A-Prayer changes their message every day, so that's another option. Our wonderful musicians here today are Lori Jones and Eric Montgomery. Thank you for being here. Today, our LGBTQ group, LGBTQ plus group, will meet in the chapel following service. Reverend Lisa will be having a What is Unity group here in the sanctuary. Anybody who's new or feels like they need a refresher on Unity and our principles, please attend after service here in the sanctuary. Bingo is happening every Thursday. Please come out and join in the fun and maybe win some money. That is ramping up, and we're getting more people each week, so we're really pleased, but we could use everybody's participation in that, and we're always looking for volunteers as well. Our ongoers luncheon is on Friday the 28th at Elmer's on Sandy. 11:30 a.m., and you can ask Don Davis if you have any questions or if you need a ride. And yet there's more. Saturday, July 29th at 10 a.m., the men's group has scheduled an outing to Lake Steigerwald Wildlife Refuge. And I'm told there are many beautiful bird species to see there, among other gorgeous sights in nature. There's no cost for this outing, and the group will meet up at the parking lot off Highway 14. That's at 10 a.m., and it's about an hour and a half walk. Contact Bill Thorbeck for details. On July 30th, our Youth and Family Ministry will host a fundraising lunch for Coffee and Connection after the service. So please be there and open your wallets. Also on Sunday the 30th, our own Pam Martell will be leading a group past lives regression and energy healing in the chapel from 1 to 3. Bring a towel to lie on. This is a free event, and love offerings are gratefully appreciated. On August 5th at 9 a.m., our Makers Meetup will feature quirky birds in watercolor with Dixie Junius. That's me. Come for the fun of creating. Register on our website or on the newsletter. It's $15 for materials. And finally, last but not least, our annual ice cream social will be on Sunday, August 6th, right after the service, and in the garden, and your love offering will help to keep our gardens beautiful. And we need volunteers. We really need volunteers for setup and cleanup. And that's all I got. Next up is Lisa Barrett Kelly, who would like to take a moment to fill us all in on the wonderful events of the Pride Festival. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Good morning, lovely people. As Dixie said, I just want to report briefly on the happenings of the presence of our Unity booth at the Pride Festival last weekend. Yes, and first of all, I just want to thank you so much that you are a spiritual community that supports those who identify as LGBTQ+. Thank you deeply. You know, all of us who volunteered at the booth had probably one or more impacting encounters with people that were there. May I just remind you that it was really hot, okay? Just remember back to last weekend, and it was super hot. And there were many times when I was there that people just came in and they said, can I just get out of the sun? Can I just have a little moment of rest and reprieve? And I thought that was such a great metaphor of really what we provided. A place, yes, you are safe here. You know, the Bible poetically states we can be under the shadow of the wing of God to find acceptance and nurturance and reprieve. And the presence of the booth was just really that. So thank you. And I want to give special thanks to Drew and Reverend Lisa. Without the absolute countless hours that Drew put into organizing this thing and Reverend Lisa's undying support, this booth would not have happened. So thank you both deeply. And to all the volunteers, we had 15 volunteers. If any of you are here, you can stand. Anna, back there, bright presence. Sandy, Analia, Eric, Anne. Just beautiful. 15 volunteers that were out there in the hot sun. I think we've seen people sweat that we didn't know sweated. So 15 volunteers. We gave out 100 worthy booklets Worthy booklets for unity are stories of those in the LGBTQ plus community. There were 5 prayer requests received, 25 action requests, and these are things where we ask the question, what can we do as a community? What are the action steps that we can take? We got 25 different action requests, 8 affirming statements, and a lot of engagement with our forgiveness box where people just were able to write something that they needed to forgive or release or let go of. So that is just a brief, report of just the amazing time that we had. So thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you. I appreciate that. We are so blessed, and we just want to take a moment and welcome all of you who are here for the first time or you haven't been here in a while. We want you to know that wherever you are in your spiritual journey, you're welcome here. We believe that every one of us is on this sacred journey, and we are all learning and growing and expressing as we go. We invite you to raise your hand. Our ushers have a guest packet for you, or just so we can know where you are. Anybody here for the first time, or you haven't been here? Wonderful. And you all have packets. Anybody else here for the first time? Great. I know it's hard to say here I am. And they've got packets, I think. So we are doing well. We're so grateful for all of you as we recognize that when we come together and hold an intention, a larger intention for humanity and for our lives, we create something larger. So if this community works for you, if you're new or you haven't been here in a long time, we just want you to know I'd invite you to become a part. One of the things we can do, conscious evolution takes people evolving consciousness and gathering together. And it is such an important piece to do. If this community speaks a language that supports you, please become a part of it. Be a volunteer, say yes to these different pieces. If it does not, I would encourage that you continue seeking. Find a place that says, yes, we know who you are, we see that light in you, and we just find a place that you can anchor. So we're thrilled to have you with us. If you're willing to fill out the green card, you can turn it in with the offering. You can turn it in at the office or in the bookstore if you'd like to. There's also a red rose that you can put on your lapel. We'd love to meet you and greet you after the service. Downstairs, there's a connection hour after the service. And then there's also, of course, our LGBTQ group and What is Unity? So we're happy to have you with us, and we're going to stand and sing. So I'd invite you to be a part of that or stay in your seats if you'd rather.
So this is a song that I wrote, so it might not be that familiar to you. It's a chant, but it's very repetitive and simple, and I know that you're going to get it. And if nothing else, move your body and just feel the groove and the vibration. I am home, 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 in my heart, in my heart. I am home, 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 in my heart. I am home, 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 in my heart, in my heart. I am home, 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 in my heart. Keep that going. I am home, I am home, I am home, I am home. Free in my soul, I am free, free, free. In my soul, in my soul, I am free, free, free. In my soul, I am free, free, free. In my soul, in my soul, I am free, free, free. In my soul, I am free, I am free, I am free, I am free. Peace in my mind, I am peace, peace, peace. In my mind, in my mind, I am peace, peace, peace. In my mind, I am peace, peace, peace. In my mind, in my mind, I am peace, peace, peace. In my mind, I am peace, peace, peace. I am peace, I am peace, I am peace. Love on this earth, I am love, love, love on this earth. this earth. I am love, love, love on this earth. I am love, love, love on this earth, on this earth. I am love, love, love on this earth. I am love, love, love on this earth, on this earth. I am love, I am love. I am home, home, home. In my heart, in my heart. I am home, home, home. In my heart.
Oh, yes. What a blessing. And we just invite you to turn to those around you with a handshake, with a welcome, with a namaste. So good to have you here.
So, let God be God. Let God be God. No, and it's at the wrong angle, but I'm not going to change it because she's got things up there. I did play it softer on that song. No, on that song. Oh. Oh well. Oh, hi. Hi, Jay. Hey, Lau.
Okay. We'll see what happens. Hey. You know, as we get to greet these sacred beings on their journey, life reminds us that we are all a part of this tapestry. In just a moment, we're going to spend a little bit of time in meditation, for we recognize that still small voice within us remembers the truth of our being. It's an eternal voice that says yes to the infinite presence and power. And so as we listen to this music, and Susie will be sharing our meditation, I just invite you to say yes to that presence within you.
Let God be God in you. Let God be God in me. Let God be God in everything. Let God be. Let God be God in you. Let God be God in me. Let God
As we now begin this time in a short meditation, with the eyes softly closed and the heart open, and knowing that there is only one of us here today, that we rise up into that infinite beingness of source energy itself, in that oneness of love that we all are a part of. Not separate, not divided, not one here and one there, but right here in this room, we are one with all that is, everything. There is no separation. We were all created free to be who we are, that beautiful spirit that gifts us to life. So in this time of meditation, quieting the mind and opening the heart, feeling grounded in your seat with your feet on the floor, and let it go. All the busyness of the day and the mind and the thoughts and whatever it is that's on your mind this morning. Whether you're feeling the joy of this beautiful morning in the sun, or maybe you cried yourself to sleep last night. Maybe you feel a kind of ambivalence. Wherever you are in the right place at the right time here to feel this love that we create together in oneness, in beauty, and in truth. So let us quiet now. Let us let go, and let us remember who we are. We are love. As we slowly prepare to return to this room, to open our eyes deepened, feeling that presence that's within us, and loving it all, opening to all the varied ways that life shows up for each one of us and us in this collective community. And know that you are the treasure, you are the blessing, and you are the love. And we all have a mighty work today in expressing the truth of spirit as it individualizes as you and me. Blessed be.
Let God be God in you. Let God be God in me. Let God be God in everything. Let God be, oh, let God be God in you. Let God be God in me. Let God be God in everything. Let God be. Let God be God in you. Let God be God in me. Let God God be. And so it is. So many years, so many seasons, following many a muse. Every venture coming and going as I'm pulled toward deeper truth. The hurting, the crying, all the stumbling and trying, all part of a greater good. And what falls away brings me closer to what I'm meant to be. What falls away is lifting me higher, up where I can see. With a kiss goodbye, I let go of all the tattered pieces, and what falls away reveals the essence of me. Every step now, every decision is rooted by Spirit in me. Embracing this path now, ever more fully, drawing to it what I need. And what falls away brings me closer to what I'm meant to be. What falls away is lifting me higher, up where I can see. With a kiss goodbye, I let go of all the tattered pieces, and what falls away reveals the essence. It's the essence of me. The essence of me. Oh, the hurting, the crying, the stumbling and trying, it's all part of a greater good, yeah. And what falls away brings me closer to what I am meant to be. What falls away is lifting me higher, up where I can see. With a kiss goodbye, I let go of all those pieces, and what falls away reveals the essence, the sweet, sweet essence of me. The essence of me. Let the rest fall away to the essence, to the essence, oh, the essence.
Thank you. Lori, thank you for writing that song. I love the idea. What falls away reveals the essence of who we are. Wow, there's been some falling away in a lot of our lives in the last years, in these times, as we've learned as humanity who we are and who we are not, and as we continue to learn to move through this journey, this sacred journey. I believe as we look at our lives and we say, I'm on a journey, we can get really stuck on what's falling away. Anybody in here have things falling away? There are some of us that have, and others who say, I don't want it to fall away. Anybody trying really hard to hold it all in, just don't let it change. On the way here, I was reminding myself, wow, it's such a beautiful day. This is beautiful, that's beautiful. And I was like, and Lisa, the only constant is change. Breathe it in. Be willing to flow with it, move with it. What falls away reveals more of who we are. I believe all of life is designed as a spiritual journey to be revealing who we are and what we've come to do and how we've come to know ourselves, even though we may want to say, this does not. It should not have happened. I don't want this. I don't want to be a part of this. This does not. And we've often done that. And we've tried to separate the things that keep us bound. But as we look at who we are, and the divine identity that every one of us has, we begin finding a deeper path and a deeper place where we move in to that journey with all of the rest of humanity, that it's not just me by myself. Because sometimes we've grown up with ideas that I don't believe were large enough for the stories that we're living. And yet, we may want them to look a little different. Rachel Marie Martin said, sometimes you have to let go of the picture of what you thought it would be like and learn to find joy in the story you're actually living. Sometimes we have to let go of the picture of what you thought it would be like. A few of us here, probably all of us, had a world that said it's going to be like this. And then it also said, and if you look like this and act like this and show up like this, then you got it made. Anybody have that? Have any of us in this room shown up as we're supposed to according to what society or a religion or an idea has said? We have a couple who have. And I happen to know that they're raised in New Thought, which makes a big difference too. So Unity is a part of the New Thought tradition, and we're actually in our third week of a 5-week, just little mini series on looking at some of the ideas that you may have heard in religion, and is there another possible way to hold them and to see them and to experience them. Now, Unity doesn't have dogma that you have to believe, but we have an underlying belief that there's one presence and one power. It's an infinite field. You can call it God, you can call it a vibration of love, you can call it whatever you want, but it is supporting us and loving us along the journey. And that within every being is that inner divinity. So there's no one left out of God. But I have a feeling a few of us grew up in traditions that said, you're in and you're out. That's how the world, somehow, that's how organized religion fit into there. And I want to take apart some of these pieces because I want us to look at is the idea of the infinite, of God, of whatever we want to call this essence, the ground of being, the very ground of being of our universe. Is it large enough for the story that we're living right now? And do we feel loved and safe and supported and filled with these ideas? Because if we don't, I think we get to look again and find a larger God. I believe that's what's happening right now in this country. There's a whole lot of humanity saying this picture of this judging being who says some people are in and some people are out is not large enough for us. And a lot of us have to relearn the language if you didn't grow up with these ideas that I'm whole, infinite, and complete, and that I'm held in the arms of spirit, of a field, of a love that will take me through any journey. If we didn't grow up with that, we may still have those thoughts in our minds, in our hearts that says, oh, you're not good enough, you're outside of this, you're not held within that. And yet that simply those are teachings that don't actually have anything to do, first of all, with what Jesus taught and what was taught in that time. And I don't believe it has to do with what we're being asked to create as humanity. And so we're just playing with it and looking at some of it. I had a couple of people say, that's a lot of Jesus we're looking at. And you're right, we are, because I want to look at some of these ideas. You know, Jesus didn't formulate any creeds. He created no ritual. He developed no theology. Did anybody grow up in here with a theology that they thought Jesus created? Okay, we have a few. There is a heck of a lot of stuff that is said, well, that's what was created. That's not actually true. The whole of his teaching was the divinity of humankind. You have the kingdom of the heavens within you. That means his idea, he felt he was one with the heavens, which they didn't know directly what that was 2,000 years ago, but they knew that it was this mystical movement, that there was something that it moved all of the seasons, and it moved, they knew that something was larger. And they had this idea. And so he came out of Judaism, and there were some pretty, in that time where he lived, they had narrowed down these ideas of what this was. And he came and said, wait a minute, there's something more. So I want to look at some of that because I want us to be able to translate the truth of our souls and who we are and how we can begin to say, wait a minute, I am another soul on this planet, another creation of light that has come to live a journey that is there to connect more of humanity. And I may have thought, well, if I could just do it this way and look this way and have this degree and have this and have that, then I'd be making, I'd take my journey and I would get the stamp of approval and I'd be okay. The truth is, right where we are, with the bodies we have, with the sexual orientation we have, with all of the pieces of our bodies and how we are and who we are right where we're supposed to be right now. And the circle that we're around and that we're holding, sometimes we feel like, wow, I lost a part of my life. I lost this, or I lost this, or I lost this. It won't ever be whole again. If we're looking at a quantum field, I hear that and it hurts and I honor that. And that's part of what falls away. But it also reveals more of who we are. And more of that light and that presence and that power. And can we allow that to happen? John Lewis said, anchor the eternity of love in your own soul and embed this planet with goodness. Lean toward the whispers of your own heart. Discover the universal truth and follow its dictates. Follow the higher message that's taking us there. That's saying, wait a minute, there is something more. And how do we really go on from here? I grew up with this idea that the most important thing we can do is figure out what this creative presence is. That is, if we can get clear on that, then we can feel safe and feel loved. I was in high school when someone asked me if I was saved. And my response was, from what? Because I had never heard that you were supposed to be saved by this guy. That I grew up hearing, this is a way shower. He shared wisdom. He shared ways we can forgive. He shared ways we can love. He shared ways we can include people that in society weren't included. And that was what I heard. And when I went home, I remember saying, am I supposed to be saved? And I couldn't figure out this, and I actually brought it into my youth group. And so we had this big talk on whether or not we had to be saved. And I couldn't figure out what we had to be saved from. But I realized, and someone mentioned something about salvation. And I was like, what is that? And they were like, what do you mean, you've never heard of salvation? I'm like, no, what do I have? And so finally I realized, first of all, there's a whole doctrine about salvation that many of you grew up with. What would happen if we had a loving vibration of spirit that created us, that is one presence and one power and loves us? There is never a question of whether or not we need something in the future to save us. We are home, right where we are, with the breath of the universe moving through us now. So if you have ever been told you had to get somewhere, Jesus never taught a doctrine of heaven or hell. He used the analogy of the heavens because he was in awe of the magnificence of what it was and said it's within us. Just like Buddha said, there's a Buddha in you. So he walked from that place and taught from that place. And these were two ideas: the largeness of a universe and the fact that that universe breathes through us. And so I believe one of our main jobs on this planet is to get a God that's large enough to support us through the journey we're taking. And that includes when things fall away, or when we're hurting, or we wonder, what's the next step in this country? How do we do this? Can we get an essence, a ground of being that will hold us, that we know we are always safe? I am safe in this moment. Can you say that with me? I am safe in this moment. I am safe in this breath. I am safe in this breath. The Spirit of love moves through me. The Spirit of love moves through me. I am safe in this moment. I am safe in this breath. The Spirit of love moves through me. Now, when we begin having a creative essence that created us, and sometimes we have to go back, and we have to say no to old ideas, and we have to bring those in. And if you grew up in a tradition that said, these are the things that you have to believe, I think we have to stop and we have to throw some of them out. I remember in ministerial school, we had to study the 7 deadly sins. I had never heard of them. I'm like, are you kidding me? There are things that are like deadly and we're never going to survive. And I said, how can that be? And so what we did was go deeper into what is a soul? Every one of us is on a soul journey. There is a life principle in you that comes from this quantum field. You can call it spirit. You can call it the stars if you want. You can call it the breath of the infinite. That's what we're working with. But a lot of times we're told, go out here. And when we do, we don't find enough of who we are because we think it's this body. And it's not. We're not our bodies. We are the essence and the light and the presence and the love. I remember my dad one day saying, Lisa, hon, I don't know what happened because there's a high school kid in here. He had just had his 75th birthday who won't go away. And I can't seem to grow up. And he said, that's who I am. And he goes, and then I look in the mirror and try and figure out who this old guy is. And he said, and he by that time had gone through AA, he had joined the church, and he had joined with my mother in studying. And he read every book these thick books, and he'd come and talk to me about what he was learning about himself and all the wars he'd been through and the things that he was healing as he found another way to say, these things fell away, but the truth of who I am is in there. But he said, it's still a 17-year-old track athlete. That was what it was. And I thought, well, if that's what we got it to be, let's let it be. But it's not our soul. The one that sees doesn't actually shift and change. It is eternal. And so the evolutionary impulse of the universe is moving through each of us. And instead of spending time saying, I have to find a place I can go where I can rest, what would happen if we rested in this moment? Everything in this moment is a quantum soup of intelligence. All this open space is energy. And it will source us with whatever we need to get through the next moment. But we have to have I believe, a believing large enough that allows us to go beyond what we think we could do. And that's not always easy. Sometimes that comes when there's a death in the family, and we think, how do I go through life without this beautiful being? Or someone has Alzheimer's, or they've changed. But it also goes when we say, I've done this over and over again. I don't need to do this anymore. What a radical idea. I could change and choose something different and larger. And when we do, we find a part of ourselves we've never known before. One of the things I still do is watch a lot of track and field. And what would that be? Friday, at the Diamond League meet, there's an athlete, her name is Nia Ali. And I love her because all season they've been saying, well, she's recovering. And I kept thinking, what kind of injury did she have? She had her third child. And she's 34. She won the 100 meter hurdles, and has in the United States already qualified for the World Championships, and she did it in her best time. And they kind of asked her, well, at 34, did you really expect that? She goes, why not? Why not? And I love that idea and you can read articles about her, and basically she said, my God's big enough for me to do whatever I believe I can do and am willing to move forward towards. And the other thing that's going on is the World Championships in track and field and masters. And the 100+ category, you have got to watch those events. One of the women said, I didn't start running till I was, 68. And she said, and now I finally won. And I was just like, you know what? Thank you, God, that we can have a vision large enough. And we might think, but I'll never run a track meet. I'll never do this. I'll never do that. It's life. It's the life principle that is designed to expand in us. So what do we do with it? We get to hold a larger picture, I believe, of this infinite presence and power that is holding us. We get to expand our mind out to say, it is loving me. It is holding me right now. There's nothing in my journey this day or any day that it will not carry me through. And we can state, what about them? What about them? What about them? There is still a presence. If our soul has said yes to going through this experience, and I believe we say, I love Carolyn Mace's sacred contracts. Every one of us has made a sacred contract to experience something. It can be the loss of a loved one. It can be an experience that takes us so high, and often it's both. We've said yes to these journeys, and we have the life principle in us that will expand and compound and continue to grow and take us to where we are to go every moment. And we get to be the ones to say yes, because sometimes we're walking through it going, well, this is the end. We can't do this. Well, this is the end. Anybody done that lately? It's like, okay, wait a minute. I said yes to this and this, but not this. Buddha said, and this too. And this too. There's a principle in life that is inviting us to expand. If you ever wanted to know what heaven is, the root word means expansion. It's a place in our consciousness of expansion. We always have access to the infinite. It's not a place up in the sky. It's the breath we breathe. It's the knowing that there's more in us, and that what we have right now, even with all the flaws and all the funky pieces and all of the stuff, is everything we need. And so I'd invite you not to avoid. When you say, so what do I do? Expand your view of the presence that holds you. Expand it. Throw out the stuff that doesn't work, because you are more than those ideas. Remember and acknowledge the divine in you. The life principle of the universe works in me now. And it may not give a list of directions. Instead, it says, trust your heart, take a step. Trust your heart, take a step. And if you don't like where you are, I'd invite you to look again with fresh eyes and say, what's beautiful here? Because the beauty, it continues to expand us. There's a saying, who is it? Alice Walker said, whenever you are creating beauty around you, you are restoring your own soul. Now, it may not be what you want to be doing, but I'd invite you to know you will learn and grow and expand from it. One of the things my daughter and I have done, and we're having a lot of fun with this, we get up at 6:30 in the morning and we take about a 2.5 mile walk every morning. Now, with a beautiful 110-pound dog. She's now walking it because I went flat the last time we chased some cute little critter in a fence that he couldn't have gotten to anyway. So I, by default, get to pick up the poop. That's my job. Now, I keep saying, I am strong enough to hold this dog, and she keeps saying, that's okay, I'll do it. This morning, I thought, how did I get this? And I looked, and sure enough, 3 different times, there I am, and I'm just like, why does life let me do this? And I thought, sometimes this is a metaphor for where we are. And we're either gonna appreciate the fact, I was in Beauty, complaining about what I had to do every time we stopped, and somehow the dog is really excited about getting out and doing this. But I want you to see, whether you're the one who picks up whatever you want to call it, or you're the one who's holding the dog and has the power of where we go, it's life, and it's beautiful, and it's hilarious if we can laugh at the humanity we have and recognize even in those places there is a soul that can see light and be light and love not only itself but the world around it. It was a beautiful morning. It was an absolute beautiful morning. I've also realized that there's dogs up and down Lake Road in Milwaukee, that people walk them all over the place. They now all cross the street because we have the biggest dog coming, this huge black dog. And I'm like, well, there goes another one. They cross the street. There goes another one. We're not doing anything other than just walking. But we have to find the beauty and the hilarity of our life journey. You might say, but this hurts. I don't like being put outside of humanity. Right now, there's a lot of people that have been put outside of humanity. And there's a lot of us hurting because we want to know, what can I do? And there's a lot of people saying, why am I being put out? I believe for both of us, there's a learning lesson. For the ones who say, what can I do? Our job is to take another step closer, to understand more, to educate ourselves, to find a way to include. And for the person who is saying, why am I being excluded? What did I do? Who am I? I believe these are evolutionary warriors. These are beings, souls that have said yes to going to the edge of where we know and pushing it. And we're doing it all over the place. And it can be hard and it can be painful, and you can say, why me? I believe the greatest love we have are beings who say, I'll do it here. I'll do it. I'll stand in this truth right here, right now. And I want to say I honor every one of us who finds ourselves marginalized in any way, because we have said we are a soul large enough and strong enough to stand at the edge and push. And sometimes we have to step off the ledge, not knowing where we're going. But I want us to have a belief that there is an energy and a love and a light and a presence holding me so clearly and strongly that I step off an edge and I am held in the arms of Spirit, always. My invitation for every one of us is to know we are both held in the arms of Spirit, and we are here to remind those around us that they are both Spirit and they're held in those arms. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, that's a blessing. Thank you, thank you. And we have the opportunity right now to receive tithes and love offerings. By the way, Eric and Lori have a table out there. They have both music that is available. Lori has written songs for eons. It's wonderful, the gift she brings. And Eric is also, they have been traveling around in their trailer, and they have completely, with solar and things, completely made it to where you can live anywhere off grid. And so they're helping people with that also. So what a gift. But we have the opportunity right now to receive our tithes and our love offerings. Many of you do it on a regular basis. It's done electronically, and we're so grateful. There's things you can, there's little bookmarks you can get and put into the offering if you'd like to as your token. There's also slips in the backs of your seats if you'd like to find a different way to do it. Some of you do it with checks, some of you do it online. There's numbers you can call and different things you can do. I believe what we're doing is making an investment in humanity to create a safe space that everyone is included. Everyone is included. And as we do that, we get to realize that the divine love that flows through us, this consciousness, is part of what creates a larger world. So we're going to say our blessing. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And we're just going to say thank you, Infinite Spirit.
When I'm caught up in trying to move forward, trying so hard to find a better way, when my mind won't stop, when I'm beating myself up, I know it's time to stop and gently say, it's enough to feel the breeze on my face. It's enough to just breathe life. It's enough to know the love that's in my heart. And it's enough just looking in your eyes. Ooh, and in this place of calm and still and wonder, life is magical again, and I am free. And I don't need to know just where or how to go. Right here, right now is all I need. And it's enough to feel the breeze on my face. It's enough to just breathe life. It's enough to know the love that's in my heart. And it's enough just looking in your eyes. Oh, life is a gift. So are you, and so am I. I don't ever want that truth to slip on by. So please remind me that it's enough. Did it, did it, did it, did it, did it, just breathe life. Ooh, did it, did it. Life is a gift. So are you, and so am I. I don't ever want that truth to slip on by, to slip on by. Oh, 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 it's enough to feel the breeze on my face. It's enough to just breathe life. It's enough to know the love that's in my heart. And it's enough just looking in your eyes. It's enough just looking in your eyes.
Thank you. How wonderful. It's enough just looking in your eyes. I wanted to share with you that one of the wonderful things I got to do this week was working with Building Bridges, which is our international outreach program here at Unity of Portland. And part of what we do is send young girls from Unity churches in Nigeria to school for a year. Our tithes from this community are sending at least 30 that we know of as of today. And we also I help facilitate 2 other scholarship programs so that they can function, because otherwise they couldn't get the money there and different things like that for other churches. And so it looks like we'll have a total of 46 girls that will be offered 1-year scholarships. These are a total of 3 years that they get to go. It allows 13-year-old girls to go through the end of schooling in Nigeria instead of getting married. That's really what it does. And so, and one of the fascinating things is with New Thought churches in Nigeria, and Unity has, we don't know, I have a list of 55, somewhere around that number. Even if it's 45, it's somewhere in there. Some of them are study groups, some of them are churches. These girls are told they're infinite creations of spirit. And so their families want them to go to school, even if they can't pay for it. And the girls want to go to school because they believe that there is something in them that is so much more. And so when we think these ideas are small ideas, they shift whole bodies of people if they have those from the time they're young. And so when I got to meet with them and talk to the girls, they said, we have the Christ in us. And it was fascinating to see a 12-year-old girl say that about herself, because Unity was the only religion teaching that at that point in her country. And so I just want you to realize how wonderful it is. You may not ever see this, it's all done through books and things like that, and then I'll go to the, and then we'll transfer it, and all the other things, we'll get a list, we'll get a write-up, and we are asking for pictures, so hopefully we can share them with you. But just know, as a community, we hold this space all year and then are able to open to those ideas. So thank you to all of our community for that. And part of, we are going to sing our youth in just a moment. I want you to remember, we are a part of their journey. So I invite you to create an energy field of love into which they walk, because their bodies recognize it, and we can see the wholeness that they are. And they may all be gone on vacation, half of them, but it's holding a space for the light and the love and the presence that they are. Can we sing our kids in?
Sing them in. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
All right. Thank you. Okay. It is so good to have all of you in here. And we got our puppy too. Okay. We get to the opportunity now. So the LGBTQIA group will be meeting in the chapel at about 12:30. I'll do What is Unity in here, and we invite all of you to join us downstairs for Connection Hour. It's a wonderful opportunity to just join with other people of like mind. All right, why don't we stand and sing Let There Be Peace on Earth, and let it begin with me.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as leader, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace
yes, let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Yes, yes, yes. And we just want to join together in our unity prayer. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. All right, we make that firm. We are going to sing our youth out. Have a love-filled week.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.